Hello, I'm Dr. Jeffrey Fidel. In this video I would like to go over form and formless and how it relates to non-duality. And again, I'm going to do this in a graphical manner. So if we take our example like last time and we say that this whole thing here is the universe. So within the universe are all different forms. And the forms are really things that our minds make. So when we talk about forms, we're talking about mental boundaries. So I'd like you to picture the whole universe as like a bowl of water. And within this bowl of water is where forms arise. So just like a bowl of water could have ice cubes. So if ice cubes begin to crystallize within the water, notice how the water and the ice are never separate. It's just ice begins to crystallize. So these boundaries here, we would call these ice cubes and this water. But in reality, there is no boundary between the ice cube and the water because the ice is crystallizing from the water. So in the same way, what arises in our universe, like let's say a star begins to form and then eventually it'll take more parts, maybe that it becomes denser in some way, but it's never a separate entity from the surrounding space. And this is the same thing that is with us, because when we're born, and we can't know what we look like when we're born, but by the same token, we are a form as well within the universe. And so we take a form, and our form is always changing. So eventually, it's not like we're ever a separate entity. It's we're always connected into this universe. So the form that we most know ourselves as is something like this. And the reason why we know ourselves like that is like right now, of course, if you look down at like your arms or your legs, your ability to perceive is going to, when you look at yourself or your feet, what you're seeing is like the same kind of thing that you're seeing when you look at a star. In other words, your senses are making out a form from the surroundings that's based upon your senses. So you look at your foot and your mind will then create a foot form. If you look even at a star in the sky, there's no difference. Your mind will make a star form. So it's not like you're seeing your foot. It's that your mind is making an image based upon your senses. And so this form that you are, as all other forms in the universe, including dark forms that have other names like black holes, which is just like the absence of our ability to perceive what it is, and we infer that they do exist based upon other things that we can see. So if we see a star, if our senses can see this light spectrum but they can't see that, and this is moving in a way that's not expected, then our minds infer that there is another form there, and then we give that form a name. But of course, this black hole form is not separate from the star form and is not separate from the form that we are, because the form is nothing more than what the mind makes. The form is based upon our own senses, and thought is just another sense. So when we perceive something like that, our mind conditionally then wants to put a name on it. So it says foot. And by doing that, it creates kind of saying, okay, this is foot and this is not foot. and it's making a boundary between like foot and not foot, or desk and not desk, or star and not star. In other words, the parts that are outside of the sensation, it's saying that this is an object and this is like the space that the object is within. But of course, those boundaries are all based on our perception. So once again, if we see the universe as a bowl of water, we could see how all forms, including human forms, planet forms, black hole forms, every single thing, cloud forms, tree forms. In other words, even if you look around in your room, and granted, your room is not separate from the universe either. So we're conditioned to say to ourselves that somehow the universe is out there. But it's not just out there, it's everywhere. Even your the chair that you're sitting on is within this universe. So, and even if you think about it, I mean, the chair is made of some pretty heavy elements that, of course, are made in the stars that are not out there because, like I said before, that star is connected to everything at the same time. So even though we might say, oh, this galaxy is like 50 million light years away, that's not really true, because at the same time, if we see it, it's through us at the same time. It's not like it's out there. I mean, relatively, it's out there, meaning that, and I'll give you an example how if you have this entity, again, as the universe, and you have like ocean waves, it's true that this ocean wave might be far away from this ocean wave. For this ocean wave to get to that ocean wave. But the two ocean waves are connected by the ocean the whole time. So even though it's true that there is distance, at the same time they are the same. So you can see once again how something can be apart and together at the same time. And this is something that the mind really has difficulty with, is that something is away and here together, or something has form and no form together, because language is kind of defining in that way. There's not a word for like black not white or black not black. Because that just sounds kind of confusing. So the mind likes to work in these concrete terms. So it'll name things and it'll make these illusory boundaries. So in summary, what you are, and this of course is not completely true because this is just a graphical representation, but what you are is not the body or anything. It's basically, if the universe itself, which nothing is separate from, so you're an expression of the universe. So if you could almost imagine that this is like you're this wave within the universe, and let's say I'm this wave in this universe, there's another person that's this wave in the universe. So of course all these people are connected because they're all within the fabric of the ocean of the universe. So, and this is why there's no separate self, there's no separate entity. So let's say that, let's say this person is blind. So their senses will not form the star from the universe because they can't make out that visual light. So from their point of awareness, they might not make out any form. Whereas if this is another person, they can make out a form from the star, and they'll say, oh, this is a star and this is space. But you see how each human form, which is not a separate form, like I said, but each human being, human form, each person, you see how all these words can kind of delineate that there's a separate entity from a universe, but each one of us has senses. And so you could really see it as the universe itself has developed a sensory awareness. Everything that we make, like when we look around the room right now, your mind's going to make different forms. Like you might see like a computer form in front of you, and then you'd say, oh, there's a computer, and then there's air around it. So your mind automatically starts to make these boundaries where in essence, like the computer and the air are really blended into the reality, as are you. So all the forms that we make are based upon our sensory awareness. And that's why what we are is the field of awareness. Like wherever we look around, our senses start to make these forms out of something that really has no form. I mean, the forms that are made are based upon our limited senses. And what thought is just another sense. So when we name something, we say, the mind instinctively says, oh, star. And all of a sudden, what is not a discrete object has now been made by the mind as something that's separate. And it says, if we're over here, the star is there, and we say, wow, look how far that star is away from us. But in reality, the star is also not far away from you. And in fact, everything that makes you up, what I'll call a you, because you are an expression of the universe, including your mind that is contemplating the star, is a part of the universe, because even your mind that's thinking is made of, carbon, hydrogen, and of course, heavy elements like iron that's in your blood. So it's not like when you consider yourself a person, it's not really like that, because you are everything that makes you up. You're made of bacteria and all the life forms that came before you, even like inside of your cells are like bacteria and everything. All the minerals, everything that's that's a part of this big bowl of soup is what makes you up. That's why, even in science, like everything that makes you up, the hydrogen, the carbon elements, everything is just, it's just how much of those ingredients make up the you. And that goes with every other form in the universe, So that's the difference between the form and the formless, is that really everything is woven together, including, of course, human beings, but the human form is not a separate entity from the universe. And that's why most people know the form of who they are, but the formless, they're less aware of knowing that they are a very expression of the entirety of the universe. And again, like just to put as a last example, because many of the things in non-duality, we're always talking about how we're the universe, but I just want to show one more time graphically, because I think it's kind of clear that this form that we are, and I'm going to use that human body form, of course, is mixed into the whole soup of the universe. So you are the entire universe. It's true, because you're in there. So even like there's no separate person that you are. It's not like that. You are the universe. That is completely true. But this other person also is the universe. So that's why this person is the universe and that person is the universe. Now notice that that form itself, even though it's the universe, it's not like this form or you as a separate person or the universe itself, because that would mean that you're the universe, that everything that composes the universe is within the you, right? It's not like that. It's that you are the universe. It's true. You are the entire ocean, but you're a wave of the whole ocean, as is this person. And that's why in the non-dual realm there's no separate person, there's no separate anything, because everything is connected. The whole ocean is the whole ocean. So, you're a very unique wave, and that's why it's like I'm not you and you're not me, because we're unique, completely unique waves. But the waves are changing all the time and always interacting with the ocean. So in this way, we're two different waves, but we are certainly the same ocean, as is every other expression in this known reality is one woven fabric of a reality. So if there was just an existence, if the universe just had existed, of course it wouldn't know that it even existed, because there would just be existed. So because we have awareness and we're within the universe itself has become aware of itself. And when we look into the sky, it's the universe itself observing itself through us. So that's really it. I mean, we're very identified with this form of who we are, but you can see at the same time that although it appears that we're separate forms because our minds make out forms based upon our sensory awareness, really what's going on is that we're just woven into the fabric of this universe, which is always happening in this present moment.